Hi everybody, welcome to another video. This video is an unboxing and a showcase. And in this video, we'll have a look at Warlord Games' Fallshirmjaeger Infantry box. The figures in today's showcase is painted by SL. So let's start with the unboxing. Right, so let's have a look at what you get. There are basically two different kinds of sprues in the Fallshirmjaeger box. You got the base sprue, which comes with some bandoliers. And you got the infantry sprue, which comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 infantry, and a whole bunch of accessories that go with it, weapons, bandoliers, heads, and stuff like that. We'll just have a quick look at what these are, very quickly. But you get pretty much 6 of these and 6 of these, so it comes out to about 30 infantry bases with 30 infantry that you can kit up in, well, hopefully in many different ways. So let's have a look very quickly. We've got a couple of poses which I think are nice poses, but I don't know how to feel about this poses being done more than once. But you've got the 2 legs kneeling. You got the one leg kneel. You've got 1, 2, 3, well, 2 in action mode, 1 in a slight jog, maybe one in a slight run. You've got things like the Panzerfaust. You've got your Kar 98s. Yeah, you've got the assault machine guns or FN M42s. You got your MP40s. What is MP40s here somewhere? You got MP40s. You got then you got different kinds of heads. And if you look at this properly, let's see if I can zoom in on this ones. They all come with like different headgear, from the caps to the helmets, to the camo wraps on the helmets. Very nice. So it's up to your creativity to come up with all the different ways you can kit this up. You got the belt ammo, the MG40 heavy machine gun. Yeah, so when you get this, you pretty much got these poses, and you choose the head that you want, and then you kit them out. Because these are elite units, you can probably kit them out quite nicely, or as heavily as you want, which I think is a good idea. For most of the hands with weapons, they actually, I think the left and right arms are just side by side, so you can choose those. The Warlord gives you a whole lot of different weapons on their own, which you can actually use for your bits box, entrenching kits, entrenching tools and stuff like that. So yeah, you get 6 of these. Then it's up to your creativity to build them, and we'll have a look at those in a bit. So in your Fallshirmjaeger box, you get 6 of these. You also get what I like to think as a painting guide. So you can actually look at the different ways you can actually paint your Fallshirmjaeger. And this is great. Some recommendation. It shows you different ways you can set up your figures and different color schemes. Everything from Eastern Front, color schemes, to early color schemes, to the camouflage patterns. It's a good reference, actually. Very, very nice reference. I mean, you can find them online now, but it's also great that they have a little piece of paper here. And if you're new to the game, or you're not so sure which is what and what is where, you can actually check. The sprue, like I said, is the same sprue, and they've actually numbered the sprue, so pretty much you can actually refer and build. Yeah, so there you go. Very useful, this. Now I asked SL if he could give me a list of colors that he used to paint the figures, and here are the list of colors that he used. He used Reaper paints as 9123 khaki highlight for the base. He does not highlight the base, so there's no highlight for the camo smocks. The camo brown stripes, he used Reaper Paints' 9121 khaki shadow. Then he mixed Skarsnik green and Games Workshop's Goblin green for the camo green spots. The figure was washed with Games Workshop's Seraphim Sepia mixed with Games Workshop's Agrax Earthshade. The boots for the figures were based with model colors Flat Earth, highlighted with model color Green Ochre, and washed with Games Workshop's Agrax Earthshade and mixed with Army Painter's Dark Tone. The camo patterns for the helmets is the same as the camo for the smocks. The blue helmets were dry brushed with a mix of light brown and light grey to simulate the troops smearing mud on them to make them, well, less reflective. Now the pants for the Fallshirmjaeger were painted in two basic colors, Field Grey and Luftwaffe Blue. So let's start with the Luftwaffe Blue pants. The base was a mixture of Games Workshop's Rust Grey and Game Color's Stonewall Grey. Was then highlighted with a mix of Rust Grey and Stonewall Grey, and washed with Games Workshop's Breckenhoff Nightshade and mixed with Games Workshop's Agrax Earthshade. The Field Grey pants was a mixture of model colors German Field Grey and Game Colors Stonewall Grey. It was highlighted with Stonewall Grey and a little bit of German Field Grey, and then washed with a mixture of Army Painters Military Shader and Games Workshop's Agrax Earthshade. Now he wanted to make the officer extra special, so what he did was he gave the officer an Italian camo scheme for the trousers instead of the blue or grey ones. According to SL, the Germans, especially the 1st SS Panzer Division, liberated a lot of Italian camo cloth when they were disarming the Italians in July 1943. So this is perhaps a tribute to that. He also gave the officer an older pattern smock with olive green base instead of khaki. So let's look at the colors that he used for the officer smock. The base was done with Reaper Paints' 9023 Pale Olive. The splinter pattern was done exactly like the other infantry. The wash was done with Army Painter's Military Shader mixed with the Games Workshop's Agrax Earthshade. Now, the Italian camo pants was based with a mixture of Games Workshop Lauren Forest and Game Colors Stonewall Grey. The stripes were done with model colors yellow-green. The spots were Army Painter Monster Brown, and the wash was a mixture of Military Shader mixed with Games Workshop's Seraphim Sepia. Now here's a bit of hobbying. For the NCO with the Panzerfaust, SL clipped off the sling because the MP40 could not sling properly around the neck, and then hobby it by making a very, very thinly cut paper strip in order for him to have a nicely slung MP40 around infantry's neck. Here's another bit of hobbying. There's a wire on the trooper's helmet. Now, German troops sometimes wrapped fence or chicken wire around their helmet so they can attach foliage for camouflage. So, in order to do this for the model, SL also glued some woolen scenic flock onto the helmet just to show this in action. All in all, when I asked him about why he chose a more difficult paint scheme, he said that he thought the painting style or the sample style that was given in the Warlord Games website was a bit simplistic. He says it would look okay for 15mm, but not very suitable for 28mm. So he decided to actually paint the splinter pattern. Well, at least he attempted to. He says they look a bit lumpy. I think they look great. I also asked him about assembly, and he says that he tends to paint before assembling when doing camo smocks. Any gaps were filled with Mr. Hobby's dissolved putty. Luckily, the models were a very good fit and not much gap filling was needed. Now, the weapons that needed two hands
What he did was he dry fit the gun hand first using blue tack and then glued the supporting arm into position at the shoulders only. Then removed the gun hand and painted the mini before gluing the gun hand back into place. Yeah, that's a very good tip, especially when you're building a model kit that has two arms, with one arm having a weapon that is supported by another hand. As is going to use his Fallschirmjäger as Panzer Grenadier support for his Panzer Grenadier support squad for a chain of command campaign that's happening soon. Actually, I really like it when people in the store or around the area start campaigns because it usually triggers the hobbying and triggers the painting. So here's a very hot tip. If you want to start painting faster or if you want to start hobbying faster, organize a small little campaign or a series of games to get people in your group excited. Now, as you can see, the kinds of paints SL uses for his models is a nice variety. And this is true for most people who paint. Don't just choose one brand. Take a mix of different brands of paints. I think when you're choosing your paints, go with what works for you. It's great to look at tips, like for example, the tips that we've given you today and different colors that we're using, but choose the colors that you work best with. These figures are very nice. The figures that were painted are painted with a lot of heart. You can tell a lot of research has gone into them, all the way from having different kinds of color pants to having little hobbying stuff put all over the figures. Now, the Warlord Games sprue actually comes with a whole bunch of bits that you can add on to make this Elite Force look elite. But taking one step further and doing a little bit of research definitely helps, as you can see here. SL took one extra step to make his infantry unit look fantastic. The painting scheme in this one is not exactly very easy and requires a little bit of practice. But once you know what you're doing, it should be a little bit easier. But I think if you're just starting out, stay away from the Fallschirmjäger. do normal Wehrmacht first. Only when you've gotten confidence, move over to the Fallschirmjäger. These are not easy figures to paint. So that's pretty much it. I hope you liked the showcase. I enjoyed shooting them and showcasing them for you. And I hope to feature more World War II figures from Warlord Games. Hopefully. We'll see what happens. We have a Buy Me a Coffee. So if you're interested to buy me a coffee, go ahead. The link's in the description. At the very least, like and subscribe. And as always, don't forget to enjoy painting those figures.